Hello everybody, welcome to Stone Avoid. I'm Jay Phillips. Joining me as always, Patrick Collins.
That's me.
Don Bowie.
Hey.
Today we're going over quite a few different things. First up is the thing that's probably the most important to us, the Lost Legacy trailer that just came out. Looks amazing.
Super important.
Super excited about it. There's a lot of things we could go over this week, but this is something that I'm glad that it's already out. I forgot how soon they would release that. And I know that spoilers are already going to be coming up soon, and it feels like we just got the last set in.
We just did.
So it's just constantly Christmas land for us, always getting new stuff.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just 2 weeks ago was the
we're like in a
release.
constant state of hype. By the way, Force of Will, just relays their information.
Yeah, spoilers should be coming soon. Just everything seems to just constantly be on a cycle, which is awesome. I love the way that always just feels like there's something new to be talking about or doing. Mm-hmm. So what is your guys' takes on the video?
It looks interesting. You know, I've been really liking this whole 7 luminaries thing, so kind of excited to see that. And then it looks like Lapis and Kaguya are going to show up. I don't remember seeing
Lapis looks a little older.
Oh, you think so?
I felt he did.
Have the other 7 Six Sages come up yet?
Yeah, they're in. You did you watch it?
No, I have not.
Okay. So this is me and Patrick time.
Okay,
yeah.
So
you see the red one
and the blue one,
and it's
kind of
screen.
It sounded like they kind of referenced that those two were evil.
Yeah,
or maybe chaotic.
I wouldn't.
Molest and Moostart.
Right?
Yeah.
Molest and Moostart. I wouldn't be surprised if they were.
Yeah.
Zero started out evil.
That's true, but these two, out of all the 6 sages, they're the only ones that were spirits. All the other ones were like humans or elves. Mm-hmm. These two specifically were spirit types in the old game. I don't know if that has anything to do with them.
I don't know if that's going to be any relevance.
And then Grubalesta shows up. That's pretty exciting, personally. I mean, I love all the 6 sages, and I think they're all sick. Almirius, I think, is the only one that we haven't seen so
That's
far.
a white one?
Yeah, the white one that removed an attacking dude from game.
I don't know. Yeah, I can't remember that too much. The most important thing, 6 sages related, that I took out of the whole video was the display of all of the images of feasting and how it looked like it was a memorial-esque feel of her. And I feel, and you feel the same way, that this might be them leading up to the death of feasting, which would be really sad. Mainly the Kaguya behind the shoulder of feasting in one of the videos of her going like, no! And that was just really oh, yeah, she's gonna die. Feasting's
probably gonna die, or at least be some form of death. And what I mean by that is she'll be thrown into a stone and not wake up forever, or maybe she'll have some sort of weird disease or sent to some other dimension in which they have to find her and cure her or something.
Maybe she'll be Valentina and just take over Kaguya or something.
Yeah, do something weird and crazy.
The other cool thing I noticed about this video was that Narcothep apparently is a good guy, or at least I think Jordan said she's at least chaotic neutral, where she's not
she's one of my favorites.
She's not an antagonist. Apparently, she's kind of fighting against the 7 luminaries. Apparently, the 7 luminaries and / Gil are the baddies of the set.
Well, Narcothep wasn't even really a relevant character in the first set. She was there, she was everywhere in the first.
She's a very relevant character in this first set.
In the very first set,
she was the fake Red Moon.
She was fake Red, but no, she had a lot of cards, and I remember too much of the story revolving around her though, unless I'm completely wrong.
Fake Red Moon, she was a big deal because she was trying to awaken the Cthulhu the whole time or something like that. And then she becomes Narcothep, the giant tentacle.
For some reason, I don't remember Alexander telling me too much about her being that important.
No, she's a pretty relevant character throughout the whole story.
And I'm wrong on that one. Okay.
And another big thing that I noticed, not necessarily story-wise, but, I guess Priscia's also in this video.
Yeah, although it's her flip card art, so it's old art as well.
No, it's not.
I thought it went from the blue one to the dark one.
There does look to be like a good and evil Priscia art,
which
I don't
thought
think
that
they're new
existed
arts.
already. I think they're
I think they're new
old
art. No, I think they're new arts.
I could have swore that they're old arts, or at least I've seen them before somewhere. Maybe they've been
The feasting ones are the only ones that looked old to me.
The Priscia ones looked like the older art for me for some reason. The when they spoiled her good and bad cards a while back.
Okay.
I
We'll agree to disagree.
We'll have to rewatch it at some point, and then actually show Dawn it.
My theory on this is they showed 2 different Priscia arts, they showed 2 different Lumia arts, and they showed 2 different Narcothep arts. Mm-hmm. So that usually heavily implies that it's going to be a ruler or at least a shift card.
Yeah. I would probably go with shift, just off of the way the game's been kind of going with those.
Yeah, I mean,
I would like to see more shifts anyways.
It's very possible that just the thing is shift, Lumia was already a shift card in the CFC set. So
well, I mean, if we want to go with that way, Priscia has been a shift and a ruler.
Yeah, but that was in the last block altogether. This is a whole new set. But Narcothep's already been a ruler, so there cancels out that.
Yeah,
but expect to see a dual-sided card for probably those 3 characters. Most likely, it could. Yeah. One art could be like a spell, and the other art could be a resonator. You never know.
That's totally true as well. Mm-hmm. I'm excited for however they want to go with that. I really love all the characters that they're going with. However, that kind of brings me to something that I didn't even write down for today, is the possibility of them not continuing the story arc after this block.
Yeah, Jordan said that quite a few times. Not necessarily sure exactly how far from the story they're gonna go. Like, I don't know if they're literally gonna just cut and scratch it off, or are we gonna kind of see a little bit of Alice or a little bit of Kaguya? Or are we gonna switch from one main like side character to another in their story or whatever?
This reminds me of something like Magic, how they have these central characters like planeswalkers, and they just go to different worlds. Like, they could go through all the movie worlds and stuff like that, prepared for like Cthulhu World and all the lore movies that are coming up.
Yeah, I don't think the movies are supposed to have anything to deal with the main story though. But he actually kind of said some of them might, like Wukong's movie might deal with but so you might be right on that. I don't think the Cthulhu one, though. Personally, I don't think so. Feel free to argue that.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like if they resolve the stuff with, like, this almost makes me feel like they're going to have to resolve the stuff with Lapis in this.
Either Lapis is gonna lose, die, or he'll forever, or maybe he'll be the new, or maybe he'll win. And that's like what the next set is about. It's like a whole new group of good guys that are like, wow, Alice and all her buddies got killed.
Or maybe they don't even know who Alice is. Maybe it's another world all off on its own, and it's going to just slowly start building the hero.
Lapis just starts colonizing with his little snow prince babies.
No matter how they do it, it seems like they're going to probably just pick up with something else, which, I mean, I'm super excited to see what else they want to do with the artwork and stuff like that in another story, and where they could go with it with possibly something even more unique than all the fairy tale stuff. That might mess up stuff for archetype decks, but I would be excited to see what else there is in the wild that they could mess around with, because ultimately that means eventually they could blend it. They could just add more to the stories in general, sort of how you're talking about with the Magic storyline.
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, anybody out there, but I believe Jordan said after this cluster, they're going to move on to more resonator types that are more unique. So they might actually kind of go away from the typical like elves and I want to say dwarves because I think that's what Jordan said too, but there's no dwarves in this elves and I don't know what, just some other common thing,
bigger variation.
But like hopefully we get werewolves or something like that.
I feel like a good way to explore stuff with more archetypes would be, or more types of creatures, is to get rid of either the archetyping like structure or start adding more to the set than 105 cards per set. Because I feel like we're going to get too diluted if we add too many different types into each set.
Yeah.
Then we're just going to be spanning this like, this works with fairy tales, search them out, but there's only 3 in this set for some reason, and I don't want to.
Well, there's a buttload of fairy tales in this set, so it's
right,
kind of hard to argue that.
Yeah.
But not so that wouldn't be true if they added in 5 new races.
Yes.
You know, and they keep adding in races.
I think they actually kind of discussed that problem. I think they're gonna have a much more uniform archetyping in this cluster.
Yeah.
And I think they're going to do that in later clusters too, but I think starting like the next cluster after this Lapis cluster, they're going to push away from the very common types, so we'll have an awkward gap of these archetypes not really flowing together, and I think then we'll start to have like a... Because, you know, this game's still kind of like in its beta state. We just got the energy coin, and everyone's still kind of like, a lot of people are for it. There's some people still really against it.
I can't believe people are against the coin.
Everyone's really fair, yeah.
Someone's got to be mad, dude.
Everybody's always got to be mad about something.
Yeah.
However, things I'm not mad about. I want to just keep going since we have a lot of stuff to talk about today. MELFEE got an errata. From what we can tell, she is now 80% more feasting. Because they took away the clause that said damage dealt two resonator was prevented, and now it's damage dealt by target resonator is prevented, which is the old feasting card.
That is so good.
Which makes this way better. It does allow...
So playing double MELFEE is like just super good.
Damage.
She's just significantly better. This also does allow the set to try to make barrier more relevant, possibly later on by things that have protection from. That.
I think they do need more cards with barrier personally.
Because right now you could target your own thing; it's prevented damage, so when it gets hit, it doesn't die by the thing, but shenanigans. It definitely felt weird. It's better to target the creature. That thing doesn't do damage
attacking,
anymore. But now you can't target that thing if it has the barrier, so it allows more things to be more relevant. But it just generally makes MELFEE way better than she was earlier.
I honestly think they should have kept the old typing, to be honest.
You really think so? Like, this makes her so much better.
Yeah, but she doesn't need to be any better. Just having a flashing green card for 2 mana that produces any color you want is just, that's enough.
Yeah, but there was Feasting that did the new... It feels like...
was a pretty broken card.
Yeah, Feasting is still... one of my
it literally got you ahead by a turn.
You had to play 2. You have to play 2 spells to prevent this damage.
True, but I mean, Feasting was 3 mana.
Yeah, but I feel like this should be rewarded a bit more, because Torrent is a hard ability to pull off sometimes.
Except for when you reveal a MELFEE off the top of your deck by that card that makes it cost 1 cheaper. Now you get a 1 mana
Whispers of the Wind or something. Yeah, I mean...
Which has been the most relevant way that I've played every card with Torrent, for the most part.
Yeah, and the Bear Magic one, that one's really good.
There's a ton of ways to make Torrent work in your favor on the curve the way that you want to without going down with card selection and whatnot. I don't find it to be at all like a disadvantage. Although I like the change simply because it feels more correct. I will say that. Just because it feels better to target your opponent's creature and that is preventing damage is less clunky feeling to me than to choose a creature and it isn't dealt damage and it works better for my brain for some reason. That's why I
have to agree with you. Yeah. But that being said, it feels really broken to choose their resonator that can't do damage while also summoning a body that can also block in that same turn. Just doing that with the old Feasting was just so strong. Yeah. It just broke combo decks and all those things. It was just
it's what made her one of my favorite characters in the entire.
Yeah,
not her storyline.
A lot of people
just that
favorite card is that your same card. And Big Feasting is even pretty good.
Oh too. Yeah, I love Big Feasting. Well, I mean, if we remember when I took us to
we all tried to play the Big Feasting.
Big Feasting was the deck that I built for us to go play, which I did pretty well with. Only drawing drawing a bunch of matches. Still got in the top 20-ish. However, I don't know. I guess there's not too much for us to say about this card. Yeah. I like the errata. One thing that I will note is I know a lot of people are against erratas in general unless the card was printed wrong in the first place. I completely get that. However, Force of Will has made the mistake of errataing cards at some point in the design of them, aka they've released cards to us errated, like R&R. So once you set a precedent in anything, it's too easy, if not almost a quick callback to them doing that again at some point. Which is why I would prefer they would to have never done something in the first place, which is the same thing that I had my problem with banning cards, anything like that. I enjoy when they hold out, because as soon as you do it, that means you're going to do it again at some point. So at this point, I just embrace the erratas. I don't really care.
As long as they're this early on in the game, and like say like a tournament hasn't been played yet, and then they switch it. That's totally fine.
But Worlds was played.
Well, yes, but the Worlds was. The only other thing that I'll say about a thing that I don't like about the way that they handle their erratas is I don't think that the information gets out fast enough for it necessarily.
Interesting.
Same thing with their banning stuff. Like, besides us digging for that information, I don't see that information just coming to me naturally, you know?
Yeah.
I don't wake up in the morning and be like, they push noticed this thing through the Force Will app about this errata. No, that doesn't happen. It's let me go dig online for 10 minutes and see what I can find.
I don't think it was even on the Facebook page. I found this on the Facebook group.
Yeah. So if we're wrong also, that's just going to be really funny for us. But whatever. Let's move on to the next topic, which is if you like a particular witch or wizard in Force of Will and you want to do something really cool with them, say like fan art of your favorite Feasting or MELFEE or whoever else is your actual favorite, Force of Will has started what looks to be a monthly competition for fan art that you guys can submit and get a ton of cool prizes for. The competition ends on the 22nd, and the voting and everything will be done and finalized on the 31st, and you get just a ton of cool swag. If you win, I don't think it's there's like a second or third place. I think it's just first place.
It's just one. I think you get all of the Lapis Cluster starter decks.
And a playmat.
The WG, the World's playmat.
Yeah, the World's playmat. And
then a promo card.
Yeah, promo card.
Quest Clear one.
Yeah, Quest Clear.
Which is really cool. I would really like to get more Quest Clear cards.
I mean, that's almost like $200 of value.
Yeah, no, I mean, oh man, this is a really cool way to... and this is a problem that we'll actually get to a little bit later, is the way that they keep rewarding players that are already franchised into the game and play all the time. This is a really cool thing for us, you know, who already play the game. I'm super excited about it. Don't let me get sidetracked now. I'll talk about this later. What do you guys think about this?
I think it's cool. I think it's like in my mind, I don't know if this would actually happen, but it would almost attract like artists into the game. Yeah. Like, you know, they might start collecting and be like, oh, you know, I think it's cool that they're supporting like my fan art and stuff. And it might grab more people, you know, maybe not players, but maybe quote unquote collectors, and not like collectors for like, oh, I'm collecting this to get money, more like just collectors because they like the art and they like the cards.
Yeah, I think it's nice advertisement. Like, what are they spending on it? Like $220, like at least.
And it's stuff that's already
and it's getting like just so much publicity. People are gonna share their artwork, share it with friends, and show it to people, and like post on their social media. Like, I made this for a card game, and I won.
That's something I really hope that does occur, and that is a great way to actually advertise that way. I don't know if that's necessarily going to happen that way, but that's a really where I wish it goes. I mean, I'm probably going to submit artwork to this for fun, because why not?
Oz. Do Oz. He's the coolest wizard. No.
I totally want to see Patrick Oz.
Patrick Oz.
I want to make a hoodie guy Oz. Yeah.
So anyway, this is a really cool idea. I do like it a lot. And this is kind of feels like in Japan they do the cosplay competition stuff. It seems like they tried to support many different like outlets to the game of what people really like as just their normal hobbies. It feels like they tried to support more than just the TCG part of the aspect of it. With the movies, with everything, it feels like they're really trying to make a community of people, which is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. Outside of that, guys, definitely go look on their main page. Check out all the information. They have all of the submission requirements, all the things that you need to know, and it is due on the 22nd. And so definitely go check it out on the Facebook page.
Yeah,
is that where it's on?
Facebook page,
Yeah.
Facebook, FWTCG or whatever.
I'd be surprised if they don't also have this on their main website, which is, of course, forceofwilltcg.com. So go check that out. Get your submissions in, and I just want to see what everybody does.
No, yeah.
Hopefully they open up all of the submissions for people to look at. I know that they said the top 4 will be for voting, but it'd be cool to see all of them.
Mm-hmm.
So let's take it back for a little bit. There's nothing bad yet. The Force of Will. Okay, sorry. Let me rephrase this a little bit better. There was a question or more of a comment from one of the people down in the comments of last video about how he believes Force of Will is much more like Legacy Magic. You are distracting me so bad today, Patrick. So this is actually something that I really want to talk to you guys about, and something that I've actually sold to a lot of people when I tell them about Force of Will and why I like it. A lot of times everybody talks about whether they like the art, whether they like this or that, whether they feel it fixed from Magic or how it's different. Personally, for me and for many other people, I believe that the comparison to Magic is much more important. The fact that this game feels and plays much more like Legacy Magic or the old style of Magic from back in the day than Magic itself feels now. Mm-hmm. The power level of cards, the way that interactions, everything that goes off, feels like a very heavy like Legacy meta without the ability to combo off and kill somebody on turn 1. Before I go any deeper on that, what you guys have anything to say?
I have to agree. Like, the main reason why I got some of the hardcore Magic players in was I showed them R&R, and that was just like Jace the Mind Sculptor turn 1, like turn 0. You just have all these 3 abilities, and like you're going off really hard, and they just really enjoy this power level and the scope of the game, really. And also no mana screw. That's good in Legacy Magic, right?
Yeah, that's actually, I mean, that's a very important thing about Magic in Legacy formats is the ability to manage your resources at a way, run maybe only 8 islands and a bunch of fast Magic in order to, combo off with High Tide or something like that really, really rapidly. Legacy Magic has a completely different feel from what you would play with Eldritch Moon or the newer sets right now. And a lot of that comes down to the consistency or not just the power level, because it's not like the cards are, yes, they're probably some of the best cards in Magic because it's the older format. Of course they are the best. But nothing's absurdly like broken. They still manage that with a ban list, a restriction list, things like that. It's just the feels like there's a lot of like similar to but completely different from cards in Magic nowadays, where they're like, we obviously wanted to do Upheaval, but that's too good. We don't want to print Upheaval. Let's print this thing that only bounces non-lands and things like that. So they try to hark back to their game, but by making weaker versions of them. And I feel like a lot of times in Force of Will, all the interactions that you have are those really gut-wrenching, like powerful like abilities where you just feel like you're just going for it, and it's not like an instant kill or anything like that, but you always feel like you're doing something much more powerful.
There's never a game where you just like call for a stone and pass unless you're in a stalemate.
There's always something to do. And some people might be worried, oh, well, what about power creep? What if those problems persist or things like that? And so far, we've seen that Force of Will has been really good at sticking to the rules of their power level and power creep. Of course, they've had their problems, like Lancelot. However, they've since balanced, and I haven't seen too many cards come out of the the woodwork that really were dramatic, just huge setbacks to players and were damaging to the game in any sort of way. I mean, Hook might be the closest thing
except
to that
for
right now.
the obvious R&R.
Well, sorry, R&R.
Well,
R&R's been banned, so there's that.
Yeah,
I'm not even thinking about R&R
it wasn't
anymore.
like a setback. It was a power creep, but it was
everyone
played it.
Yeah.
It was power itself.
Yeah, it was.
I don't know.
It's a mistake, and I get it, but it's not a part of the meta, so I'm not really counting it right now.
Okay.
This is just kind of us going wide and kind of looking back at Magic in general and the comparisons to Force of Will. It's just not to be completely too abstract with you guys. I just wanted to make that general comparison. Legacy Magic and Force of Will, they really do feel very similar.
Yeah.
Okay.
Would you say differently?
I'd say it's more of like modern. Like Force of Will still plays fast. Like it's not as slow as standard, but I think it's more like between modern and Legacy or extended, whatever. It's kind of like this weird in between kind of feel, because I think modern has some kind of weird land issues every now and then, but it's
and also this is me being really bad at selling Legacy Magic really quick and the differences between each format. A good thing to note about Modern, and a big hallmark of what Modern has been for the past couple of years, is heavy creature decks or a combo deck that will swing with those creatures really fast at you. But no matter how you look at it, it's very creature-based because that's the way Magic has developed ever since late. They've really pushed creatures to be the best. In Legacy, you get a few creatures that will be super powerful, but for the general hallmark of Legacy and Vintage is much more spell-oriented because the older spells were probably some of the most powerful things. So you see those as being like what makes and defines Legacy for the most part is more of the non-creature variety.
Okay.
I feel like Force of Will has a really strong balance of those not on those effects, like continuous effects, rotating and happening. Modern still feels much more like on board set with. For Modern, it feels like the creatures are the meat of everything, and there's a few effects that do occur from that, but it's very very set to what's going on that you've placed on that board, and it feels much more slow and rotated around that. That might just be because of the style of decks that I've played in Modern and my own personal opinion. However, I feel like those are two big separations. It's much more spell oriented in Legacy, much more creature based in Modern and in Standard. And of course, everybody's going to quickly say Force of Will is huge creature based. Yes, but the text and the amount of things that each card in Force of Will does is tremendous. There isn't just this thing that enters and does this one thing. It enters and it has a list of things that it usually does.
Right.
Just look how crazy MELFEE is. That is an obvious hallmark of the way that the game... MELFEE, whatever her name is.
MELFEE?
Yeah, MELFEE. The new...
I like MELFEE. They need to errata to MELFEE.
MELFEE. So the creatures, they feel, like more spell-based. They're...
Yeah, like Tama comes in, draws you a card, and does 200 damage. These cards feel a lot better, and they're just not like vanilla creatures, or they add some more impact when they die or when they come in.
Yeah, and I could have easily have responded to this question in the comments section, which we've been trying to do with a lot of you guys and talk to you guys down in the comments. As you can see, I'm struggling with this conversation a little bit in person, just talking to you guys right now. And I don't think I could have done any sort of justice with this comment down in the comments section. Because it is a very different take on the way that we see the game. And I don't believe most people are going to see the same way with me on this one.
Yeah, no, I think there will be a very varied response to it. But, I mean, this is really just opinion, you know? It's
opinion-based. But
it's not like,
you're wrong! You know?
Not many people have played Legacy either.
No, not a lot of people play those old formats. And that's something I used to do. I used to play Vintage. I used to play Vintage Mentor for anybody who's a Magic nerd out there. Not the Miracles version. It was the Fast Mana with... You can actually watch this deck online from I'm trying to remember his name.
Louis Scott Vargas.
Yeah, Louis Scott Vargas pilots this deck during the Legacy Masters. If anybody knows who that is, awesome. If you don't, go check that out. Magic's pretty cool to watch. I know you were here for Force of Will, but generally, I used to do that all the time, except for the exact problem of nobody plays it. How many people could I play Legacy with here in town? Or, I mean, Vintage, it was down to, like, 2 people, and that's if they were, felt like cracking out their cards for that, which was never. So I'd spend an entire year not playing Vintage, and I could downgrade it and play a Legacy variant of it, which was, not too many good choices for that. Or play a completely different Legacy deck, and then there was a total of, like, 8 people in town to play that. No, I didn't want to do that. So this game has that same skill, the same level of interactions that Legacy Magic does, and that's what really got me into Force of Will. I got to play Legacy Magic with more people.
I've never felt like the same power level with any other card game either. Like Hearthstone.
Pokemon. There's draw 7 in that game.
There is, but you can't interact on your opponent's turn.
Yeah, there's no
That's true. I'm just joking. I'm just saying the period.
No, Pokemon power level is strong, but it's less interactive.
It is. And I feel like there's no other card game that can compare to this game.
No.
Like, just consistency and, strategy-wise.
No, I think the only other comparison in the card game universe is Legacy and Vintage-esque Magic.
Yeah.
I think that's where I would compare the two games. I feel Force of Will is nothing like Magic as it stands today.
Bold. And this is new.
Boom. Okay, so anything else you guys want to go into before we bring up our last topic for today?
I heard somewhere that the next set might have more multicolored spells. Is that correct?
That's what I've heard. Like, at least half the cards are going to be multicolored or something.
Yeah, are they going to be 2-3 colors per chance, like Lumia, or just 2?
I think there's going to be very, very few 3 tri-colored cards.
Sweet.
But he could be lying to us.
Yeah. I mean, 105 cards per set, doing 3 colored cards in them seems really clunky.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised to see 1 to 2 of them in a set.
And then Lumia starts off as a blue resonator and then turns into a 3-colored resonator, so that seems more likely to happen. Like a shift, tri-color cards.
Right.
Yeah.
That's about it. Awkward insert.
Cool. So this last little part, we've been actually avoiding this a bit of a topic for a while. It's only been 2 weeks since it first came out, and that's mainly because I want to see where it went and what occurred to it. It's not like we're trying to hide from it for any reason, but we have had a few people ask us about it, and that's the alpha investment video, which, if you have not seen it, before you hear this conversation, maybe you might want to check it out, but I'm pretty sure if you played the game, you saw this everywhere. Mm-hmm. But I think more importantly, what a lot of people have not seen is his follow-up video to that, which isn't talking about Force of Will anymore, since he said it's the last time he's ever going to talk about Force of Will. He moves on to Magic and how he's dumping Kaladesh. So for a recap, for people who don't know, what he says and what a few people immediately jumped on top of is Force of Will is dying. And that right there, I want to quickly bring up, no, it's not. He even says it in his video that it's going to foreseeably put out sets for the foreseeable future. It's going to keep going. he just says that in the title to get people in there, and I feel like that's a thing that a lot of people are locking onto. Same thing with his next follow-up video, which is I'm canceling all of my pre-orders for Kaladesh, which is a bold statement. Sounds like he's, kicking, just messing his whole setup and, just shooting himself in the foot, as I kept saying to a lot of people here. But after you watch those two videos and then continue with him, he also states that, no, he didn't get rid of all of his Kaladesh boxes or get rid of all of his stuff. He simply is not cracking product to sell singles anymore, which is a very important thing for people to realize, that he's not... the games, in general, Magic's not going anywhere, and Force of Will's not going anywhere. But there is a big problem for people who sell singles. The general price of most singles are not to the level to where you can crack a box and make a profit out of selling all of the singles out of it. Unless you get lucky and you pull an Uber, or in the case of Magic, you now pull a Invention or a Expedition, or whatever they want to call it for that set. If you don't pull those lottery cards, you don't have enough to sell the box for, you don't make your money, and there's no reason to crack a box. But that's neglecting the whole thing, and which he actually covers in a later video, is you can still sell the box. People will still buy the box. They'll still buy the intro decks. They'll still buy the single packs. They'll still buy everything and anything, and they're going to keep doing so. And so why would you not carry that product inside your store, which he obviously is still doing, and making a good profit on? He has a Patreon page where he sells Magic boxes of Kaladesh for like $78. Really awesome if you want to get those. Get them through him. He's a really great guy. I definitely like his videos because he's a master at making really great headlines and making it sound like things are happening, and people really follow and hold on to those things because they're like, oh, the sky is falling. It's a great title. That's a great thing to listen to. But is it actually happening? No. Is he completely wrong? No. Is he completely right? No. There's a lot of moving gears going on here, and I don't think you can quickly go to say that, Force of Will is dying is I think just a headline to get people to click the video. Before I say anything else, you want to interject with anything?
I mean, I've talked to quite a few people about this, and I have very, very strong feelings about this.
So do a lot of people. So
yes.
I mean, it's not going to be new. I'm definitely looking at this differently than most people, and that's I'll get into that a little bit more in a second. But
yeah, you want us to talk? I don't want to get too technical, but I do want to say this. If you whether you agree with this statement or not, that Force of Will is not dying. Certainly there's signs that it might be, but there's also signs that it's thriving. Like the US Facebook page apparently has been growing ever since R&R has been banned, and that wasn't too long ago. And there's just so many videos and podcasts like us that are like, hey, come listen or watch us. We're doing Force of Will stuff. There's so many people that are just trying to make this game work. There's forums for Force of Will. There's all these people are loving Force of Will, and you just gotta look around and be like, wow, there's a lot of support for this game. Is it actually dying? I don't think so. I see so much love for this game everywhere, and I understand there's some chink in in the supply chain, but
but that comes and goes. I can point to multiple games that have had problems like that in the past. Mm-hmm. If we wanted to, I could. There's a big product line that I have over here off to the side guys that I don't think you can see. It's a game that refuses to die, and it's called Dice Masters.
I play it.
I think the best way to compare how the state of Force of Will is to any other game, and honestly about how Force of Will is doing so well right now, and I think a lot of people don't see that directly. Mm-hmm. When you take another game, which Dice Masters, I think on the list of most played games was really
6th, 7th, something like that.
Really far down there. further than that, probably. Probably underneath what Bushiroad
You even got like
garbage is
new
out
game
there
of
for.
the year or something like
Yeah.
that too.
When that game was released, it was released literally, and then like it was like you can buy the intro deck and a few packs of Dice Masters, and everybody's like, where? Because no supplier had them, or did a supplier have them for the next 6, 7, 8 months? I'm pretty sure that I found a copy of the game and a few booster packs about a year before anybody else was able to even get it reliably at most stores.
Yeah.
And it started on one side of the coast and slowly moved over. Like literally, people on the other side of the coast were able to get it several months before we could over here in California, and that's just how it kind of rolled across the states. And then when it got here, it was like boom, really, really big. It picked up finally. Everybody got to play it, and then on the third set, they did Homeland style like tragedy of releasing just a garbage set, and in this case, they pulled a Yu-Gi-Oh.
No.
And I don't mean like they did something Yu-Gi-Oh did. I mean they literally became Yu-Gi-Oh for the third set, and everybody stopped playing. And then they released D&D, and then they kept doing a whole bunch of sets. And I thought it was dead. I sold off some of my stuff. I did much to the same that anybody else would have done with like what I've heard Alpha Investments or other people be like for Force of Wills, like, oh, it's dying and it's all these things. Oh, it's so horrible. And then some guy comes to my store a little bit later and says, hey, can I buy the new thing of Dice Masters? Like, I don't have it, but sure, let me order it really quick. Because really quick, before I say anything else, a store supplies stuff that people want to buy. If they want to buy anything, you sell it to them. That's what a business is. So you buy boxes and things like that to sell people. Let's just remember that when we get back here later. So Dice Masters... I ordered in for him, and then somebody else was like, "Oh wait, that's Dice Masters. I want to play." And then more people bought it again, and then out of nowhere, it crept back into my store, and then I was really confused. It's like I thought it died. It was like surely nobody's coming into my store. It's died off. It's completely dead somewhere. And then I come to find out that there's a league for the game right over the hill, and the game seemingly out of nowhere is now thriving in our town again. I don't understand. The game literally died. Like, it killed itself once by not shipping to any stores, and then it killed itself again by releasing Yu-Gi-Oh! And then it somehow is alive again. And that's a game that's really far down on the list. That's most played game number 8 probably. I don't know. Or even if you look at Bushiroad stuff, Buddy Fight or Vanguard, which is an actual terrible game. All of those games are still holding on somehow in some weird way, and they're not the 4th largest game out there.
Yeah.
Force of Will is continually growing, continually bigger, and continue to keep going. But really quick, is there anything else anything you want to add to the conversation?
No, I think the main point I want to address is that Rudy sells singles.
Yes, Rudy, that's actually where I was going to go. Rudy is a single seller. He sells singles. He does sell boxes and other stuff. But him and many other stores sell singles, and that's how they get their money out of Magic. Which I do too. We sell tons of singles here, and you'll see our booster packs too. We sell a ton of singles here. We sell singles for Force of Will, Magic, and Yu-Gi-Oh! And a lot of people are going to criticize that we sell Yu-Gi-Oh! Singles. What are you doing? That market is terrible. It goes up and down and all the way crazy and whatnot. I'm not selling singles because it makes us money here necessarily. We're a little different than other stores. We sell a ton of product. Sealed. That's where we make our margin on TCGs. We sell cheaper than anybody else in the county. We sell our packs for $3. So you might be thinking, well, then how do you make money off of your sealed product for packs and whatnot? And it's like, well, then we also have our sleeves, and we also have this and that. And altogether, that creates our money for our TCGs. And then more importantly, we actually make a ton more money off of Warhammer and all the other things that we sell in the store. We're not just a TCG store. So when we see the price of a single drop, I don't care, usually. I actually put price tags on my cards. If a price spikes up by $2 and I don't change it, and somebody comes into my store and is like, haha, I got over on the store. I got this card for $2-3 cheaper than what it's listed online. I don't care. I bought that card for half that price anyways, and I made my money off of it. I'm glad you saved $2 through shopping with us. That's really great. Now, somebody like Rudy, somebody like many other stores who they must, sell XYZ amount of cards offline. They must make their money back. They must be doing this. They must be doing that. Yeah, the boxes, they look like bad investments to open right now. I totally get that. And if that's the continuing rate for Magic and Force of Will, if that's what it looks like it's going to be permanently, which it does for Magic, especially since they are doing the same thing that Force of Will is doing, the companies both want to make the most amount of money and they don't care about the secondary market. Single sellers are going to be having a harder time to, provide in that line of, the economy. It's more difficult. But does that mean Magic's dying? No. Nobody's going to say that. But he made the exact same video argument for Magic that he does for Force of Will. But he never says Magic's dying. He just can't make money off of singles anymore. He couldn't make money off of Force of Will singles. You still have money in those cards. In fact, if more people stop opening the boxes like Rudy, they just stop opening and trying to sell them online, the more that actually happens, the more your cards are actually going to go up in price because there's less of them out on the market. It's actually a good thing for us, which is another thing nobody ever even talks about. It's less supply in the chain of things, and it also opens up possibility for somebody else to do it possibly.
Yeah,
the game's not dying. There's so many different ways that we could spin this, and I don't want to say that Rudy's wrong with anything because there's a few things he's definitely right on, but he's definitely not right about everything. And I think he's talking about him in particular selling singles, and not as a store that sells everything else, or not every card game has to have a secondary market for the cards. If you guys do care heavily about getting the most value out of every single box that you open, why the hell are you playing Force of Will or Magic? Start playing Pokemon. If you play Pokemon, you can sell all of the redemption cards in there for a decent amount of money, all the commons in there for a decent amount of money. All the supporters are uncommons, and the lowest price for one of those is 60 cents. And now you might be thinking, oh, but that's 60 cents. Open up a Magic pack really quick. Like, literally, if I had one in reach, I'd crack it right now. Show you, regardless of what the rare is, everything else in there is pennies.
Yeah.
As to where you can literally open a Pokemon pack, and you have 3 uncommons in there that will be at least 60 cents to $1. And you've made your money back on that pack just out of the uncommons, and then you've got a rare that is anywhere between the same price, if not $5. Sure, it doesn't have any card in there that is like $30 on average, like the giant price jumps that Magic occurs, but it also doesn't have any cards in there. Like, you made your price back on that pack. In Magic, there's a good chance that you're going to open up a bulk mythic, a bulk rare, and then you've got nothing in that pack that's worth at all any money. And you might as well have just, you got like 30 cents back from that pack.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
As to where one uncommon and Pokemon saved it for you. The same thing with Force of Will. There's the packs, when you open them, there's a good chance that you're not going to make your money back in both Magic and Force of Will. Yeah. That's just cut and dry the thing about those games. So if this is really where you want to be in what you're saying, oh no, I don't want to play this game because my money doesn't return to me the way that I think it should in investments on pieces of paper. And I don't mean to offend anybody because I know this is a lot of people's lives, their entire thing. This is my entire thing too. Pokemon is a better game for you if this is really detrimentally what you need to be concerned about, is what you opened out of each and every single pack.
Yeah. I also think the main thing about this demand is that these players, just because they're in a tight little community with little players that want to get more people, they want to support their local gaming store. That's why they're going to buy boxes straight from them instead of going online and doing that. I could go online and buy cards just like singles and stuff like that, but I want to help the LGS and just buy boxes, like buy a whole case, get the playmats, get everything else that they throw at you, and that's...
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I love opening packs as to compared to buying singles.
Me too.
Yeah.
And in Force of Will, if you buy a box, you're going to open up one of every card in that set.
Yeah, I mean,
which is amazing.
I generally buy 2 boxes, and I almost get a playset of everything.
Right.
I mean, I could definitely trade for a playset of everything after buying those.
You can't do that in anything else, and you'd think, well, if you made it more rare, I would have to buy more boxes. That's not how that works. I don't sell more boxes of Magic because it's harder to get the cards you want. They buy the singles because it's hard to open the boxes for that. People here... And in other stores that I've seen, the reason why Force of Will thrives so well around here is people come into our stores, they buy those boxes from us. I sell more Force of Will sealed product than any other sealed product of TCG, hands down. Because when you open it, you're going to get play sets of stuff. You're going to get one of all the cards in the box. People really like that. And I sell way better all of the... and so then you might be thinking... Why do you carry singles if people can open the boxes and whatnot? I'm not carrying the singles to make money off of. I'm carrying the singles to get people in the door to look at stuff. It's cool. I want to show them what
I look
this
at
stuff
them
has.
every time I come in.
I don't sell very much
I've
of it.
seen it.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Same thing with Yu-Gi-Oh. I'm not making crap off of Yu-Gi-Oh. But somebody wants to sell me their collection. I'm not going to send them over the hill to sell it. I'm going to take it in. It's just a way to show them that this is stuff that we care about. We carry it here. If you need this random single, I have it for today. Yes, it's cheap as dirt, but whatever. I've got it for you. And that's just a way to keep, customers something to look at, something for them, in general. And somebody like Rudy or somebody like that, they don't need that for that reason. That's their product. Mm-hmm. This is just a bonus to what I have in the store. I'd rather kick out a bunch more boxes. So, I don't know. There's a lot of different ways that this argument could go in many, many different ways. And I just want to, this is my chime in to this conversation and why I, from this, in general, would like to more or less avoid the conversation of those videos' contents and then debate more of what we should see changed or things more positive in this way. Yeah. Which is actually something that we'll get into next time because I don't want to drain you guys on too much longer for this.
I'm very drained.
I think it'd be awesome to have a conversation about player acquisitions, getting people into the game, different ways people could promote the product, things like that. And that might not be for our podcast here. Maybe there'll be a separate video that we do. But there's a lot of things that if people are worried about what the stores, how stores are carrying the product and things like that, there's ways to make things better. People were complaining about the playmats. I give out a playmat per box sold. Just do that. People will buy more boxes because
they get a
playmat each time.
Yeah.
And you don't have extras laying around. And it doesn't look like the game's being stagnant. They just fly off the shelf now. I run out of mats of different sets because I just chuck them to everybody. You don't have to buy 3 boxes. You just get a mat every box you buy. Take it. Why? Because it promotes the game better. And I think there's many ways like that to make your communities, your local areas, your local game stores thrive better with that product is if they can realize that there's better ways to do that. But yeah, I'm going to stop ranting. Okay, so I think that's it for us tonight, guys. Thank you for joining us. As always, I'm Jay Phillips, joined by...
Dunbuoy.
And I'm Patrick Collins.
Have a good night, guys.
Bye.